as we begin our final month of 2-hour Raws. I hope you're getting ready because Raw's going back to 3 hours in a month. But as we gear up here, the final 4 weeks of 2-hour Monday Night Raws, Triple H went and he gave us one of the best Raws of the entire year. That's what he gave us tonight on this post-Survivor Series edition of Raw. A Survivor Series, honestly, that played it very safe and was very predictable and very by the book in many ways. Tonight's Raw, if it proved one thing, this time of year in WWE, they tend to phone it in sometimes. We don't have a lot going on. You know, you're in that weird little donut hole in between Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble. Not a whole lot going on. It's the holiday season. One thing you cannot say based on the stories they set up tonight on this show is that they are phoning it in. That much is for sure. They definitely did not phone in this episode of Raw. Not with Saturday night's main event coming up, and then, of course, the big Netflix debut, which is coming up in about 1 month's time. This was a show tonight that started strong and built to an angle that was just as strong, if not stronger, at the top of the second hour. Hour number 2 of the show began with the New Day 10-year anniversary celebration. In-ring wise, this show was average at best. So when I call this one of the best Raws of the entire year, we're not talking about any kind of big match that took place on this show. The in-ring action, like I said, average at best. It wasn't about the in-ring. What shined tonight was the story. It was the story in the opening segment. It was the story with the New Day. Right up until the very end of the show, the story they were telling involving Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins. And it was all set up by the opening segment tonight, which was CM Punk coming out to the ring, fresh off helping the Bloodline beat Solo Sikoa and his crew in War Games. CM Punk did that as a favor to the wise man. And now tonight he was coming to let everybody know what he was going to be doing next. Now that War Games is in the rear view, what's next for CM Punk? And so it began with that opening segment. Seth Rollins comes out. Every time you get Punk and Rollins in the ring together, it's some of the best Seth Rollins content that you're going to get on television because he's not out there dancing around and cackling like a hyena and acting like a jackass. He's out there because he's pissed off. He does not like CM Punk, and that hatred comes out, and you get some great fucking television with Seth Rollins when he is in the ring with CM Punk. And so tonight we had an interaction between them that clearly tells you that we are heading towards a WrestleMania showdown between these two. The one that we were supposed to get this year but did not get because Punk went and got himself hurt. And that set the tone for the rest of the episode tonight. Some great stuff. I can't wait to dive into it here that we got in the opening segment on this show. But then we had the New Day. And the New Day has been teasing dissension in the ranks now for several weeks, even the last couple of months. But they're also celebrating 10 years together. And find me another faction in wrestling that has had the longevity and the success that the New Day has had. You won't be able to. They don't exist. And it's a pretty incredible thing that these three guys were put together. They didn't know what to do with them. So they ended up together, and it changed their lives. It changed their careers for the better. But the last few years, it just feels like, all right, it's kind of played out. They've done all they can do. They've won. I mean, how many tag team titles has the New Day won? You know, they've wrestled all the teams there are to wrestle, and they've done it all. And at some point, you got to switch things up a little bit. And so the last several weeks, we've seen Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods going at each other's throats, arguing and bickering and just not on the same page. And you knew that this was going somewhere, but you didn't quite know exactly where. Would they have the balls to actually break up the New Day and turn them heel? Obviously, one big element missing from this group has been Big E for the last couple of years because he got hurt and he's not medically cleared. And so the New Day went from a trio to a tag team, and that changed the entire dynamic. Well, that played into what we saw on the show tonight because I think whatever I was expecting this to be, and I would say whatever most people were probably expecting to get out of this segment, it was very, very different in its final form, and for the better. I love what they did tonight. We had Big E on the show. I don't think that's really much of a surprise. You had to expect that he was going to be there. But this was one of the more compelling heel turns that I can remember seeing in a very long time. and unique in that there was no physicality. This was not a heel turn in the traditional sense where somebody gets ambushed, somebody gets viciously attacked. Nothing like that, because Big E is not cleared for physicality, and so they weren't going to be able to do anything like that with him. But we got a heel turn from the New Day on this show, and I thought they did it in a brilliant way. And this now makes 2 weeks in a row, by the way, that the New Day has been involved in the segment that I think stole the show here on Raw. And when was the last time that happened? That the New Day had the best segment on the entire show, let alone 2 weeks in a row. But again, it all comes down to the story. The story that opened the show, CM Punk and Seth Rollins, and that gave way to a separate little side story with Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins. And then the New Day stuff has been developing, and they've given it time. And then you get rewarded. That's what you expect. That's what you hope for when you have a story like that playing out over a period of time. And tonight took that story and just sent it in a direction that I think a lot of people were not expecting. But I thought that was fantastic what they did, and we're going to get into that as well. The other thing they did tonight, they also established the next challenger for Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship now that he has beaten Damian Priest. And so what's next for Gunther? We got the answer to that question tonight. We also now have a date not only for that match, but for Io Sky's championship match with Liv Morgan that she's finally going to get. We now know the time and the date and the place that will be taking place. We also have the start of the Women's Intercontinental title tournament. First round triple threat match. This is the same exact format that they're doing for the U.S. title on SmackDown. So that kicked off tonight as well. This was one of the best episodes of Raw all year long. That's what I like to say. I want to come on here and tell you that I saw one of the best episodes all year, not one of the worst. These episodes are the most fun to talk about and to dissect, and that's what we're going to do tonight. And I'm glad you're with me. This is the Monday Night Raw review. It is December 2nd, 2024. I am the Solomonster. I have to tell you, I've been looking straight ahead into the camera, and I've been addressing you here for the last several minutes. And in the corner of my eye, I see all kinds of colors, vibrant colors in the chat. And I don't know what's going on in the chat, although evidently the goal that I set has already been met. Holy shit. I don't know what's been going on in the chat with all of the super chats. I'm just the sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I make them hot. I make them shiver. We're getting started early. Their knees get weak whenever I'm around. They see me walk. They hear me talk. I make them feel like they're on cloud nine. Oh boy. Look who has returned. The prodigal son returns. David Thiering. And I did see David before I went live here. As we were getting ready to start the stream, David dropped a $300. I think it was $300. I don't even have it in front of me right now, but I think it was a $300 super chat from David Thiering. And then he goes and he drops another 80. And David has been, he's been missing for a little bit. And so we're going to read his messages here and find out what's been going on with David. But my guy, you talk about a return. I was going to talk about Drew McIntyre's return at the end of the show tonight, but I think David just usurped Drew McIntyre for best return of the night. David, what's going on, man? Holy shit. Thank you, brother. As you could tell, super chats are open. And apparently we are already on our way to a second Be the Booker tonight, assuming we hit our goal for the first one. So you guys have pretty much guaranteed at least one tonight. But let's keep it going. Let's keep the train going here, and maybe we'll set some new goals. Like and subscribe if you are not already a subscriber to the channel. It's very active here, as you can tell. So welcome. And also, before we go any further, I have to wish a very happy birthday to somebody else who is with us here in the chat. Our good friend, Fire Panda, 22 years old today. And Fire Panda, one of our mods in the chat, is, of course, spending her birthday with all of us. Hanging out here, talking about Monday Night Raw. So everybody in the chat, wish Fire Panda a very happy birthday. I will get the panda on the screen right there. Fire Panda, I hope you had and have tonight a very happy birthday. And we are all very happy that you are with us here tonight. So with that being said, actually, there's so many coming in. Let me just unpause this here and see what other mayhem is coming my way here. We'll let them periodically pop up here because we got to get through this. But thank you guys again for all of the love so far tonight. You guys are amazing. Oh my God. David again. We're having a party here on the street. We're Barry Horowitz now. Where is David again with another $250 super chat bomb. David, I got a whole review to do and you're going to render me speechless. What are you doing to me here? Holy shit. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's get into this opening segment here and then we're going to pick up with this, okay? So don't go nowhere. First 30 minutes of this show tonight aired commercial-free, and it's a good thing that it did because what it gave us was one of the best segments that you'll see on this show all year. It started with CM Punk entering the building backstage. He ran into Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. He slapped hands with them. Of course, they were partners on Saturday in War Games. And on his way to the ring went CM Punk. Came to the ring and he told us that the last time we saw him here on Raw was on that stage, and it was right after he had his war inside Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood with Drew McIntyre. And he told us that night as he was all beat up, remember his arm was in a sling, and he told us that he doesn't know what his future holds, but he knows exactly where he's going. He handled his business with Drew McIntyre, and he came back to take care of some personal business for his friend, Paul Heyman. He knows what the future holds. And he climbed up on the turnbuckles and he pointed, and I said, oh shit, it's too early for this. What do you do? He's pointing to where the WrestleMania sign would normally be, but there's no sign. The sign's not there. See, I thought they were going to unveil it. It was going to just like a spotlight was going to appear and the fucking sign was like hidden in the darkness. They were going to shoot off a bunch of pyro or something. But there was no sign. But he said he sees it. He said there's multiple roads that he can take to get there. There's multiple ways that he can finish his story. There's the Royal Rumble. Maybe that's the road he takes, or the Elimination Chamber. Does he really want to be in the Elimination Chamber, though? Do we need CM Punk in the Elimination Chamber? He just had a Hell in a Cell match. He went from Hell in a Cell to War Games. Does he really need to be locked inside of another structure? I think the Royal Rumble would be the safer bet for him. He said he's got a favor or two in his pocket that he can call upon to get to where he needs to go. Now let's stop there for a second. On SmackDown on Friday night, there was a cinematic sit-down with Punk and Roman Reigns. And at the very end there, Punk flat out said that Paul Heyman owes him a favor. He didn't tell us what it is. Heyman wouldn't even tell Roman Reigns what the favor was. He said, let's get through War Games first, and then we can talk about it. And by the way, let's see what happens on Friday, because now War Games is over. And if I'm Roman Reigns, I'm going to come out on Friday, and I'm going to want to know what that favor was. So we'll see if they tell us. My theory about it, and I talked about this in my Survivor Series review, is that Punk is going to go after the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw at some point this upcoming year. And maybe it's for the Rumble, maybe it's for WrestleMania, but he's going to want to go after the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think the favor could very well be that he wants Paul Heyman to help him and to be his wise man. He wants him to be, his consigliere on Raw, just like old times. And he wants to tap into his wisdom and his strategy to help him on his way to become World Heavyweight Champion. I could be completely wrong about that, but there's no other obvious favor at the moment that I could think of. So that to me is what would make the most sense. So it was very interesting that Punk said he wants to win the Rumble or he wants to win the Elimination Chamber because he wants to be the world champion, and he's got a favor or two that he might call in. I think that gives that theory some credence, but we'll see. But anyway, he kept on talking here, and he was interrupted in mid-sentence.
Say his name and he appears.
And so have I. I've been interrupted mid-sentence. But in the best possible way.
I believe in the monster. 'Cause they love him in London, in Paris, in Tokyo, America, Scotland, and Canada, and Mexico. They say, I believe in the monster. I believe in the monster.
I can't believe that David is still going. $150 bomb. Says Bukaki.
I'm the Bukaki ghost. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
That's my favorite one. Boy, the Ghost has made a lot of appearances over the last several days. Yeah, usually don't see the Ghost around that often, but he's been out quite a bit recently, climaxing posthumously. Was that Matt? Thank you, Matt. And thank you, David. It's not officially a fun time. Look, it's Fire Panda's birthday, everybody. So, yeah, you got to bring out the Ghost. You got to bring them all out tonight. We need them all out. We could do this. We're going to do this the right way. We're going to do it for Fire Panda. Well, Punk was also interrupted mid-sentence, so we have something in common here. He was interrupted by Seth Rollins, which is not as cool as being interrupted by what we just got interrupted by. So the fans sang him to the ring, and he joined CM Punk inside the ring. He said he's been thinking a lot. He said he really should have knocked Punk's ass out the same day that he came back to WWE. And he regrets that every single day for the past year. And over that year, a lot has gotten in the way. Punk got hurt. He said that he had titles to defend. Said he had a bloodline to take down. And the last time he saw Punk, he was this close to taking that shot. But he had pity for him. Said that Punk had just come out of Hell in a Cell with Drew McIntyre, and he had pity for him. It was his mistake, he said. After Saturday, seeing him stand there next to Roman Reigns, it became clear to him that it was time to rectify his mistake. He removed his jacket. He had some kind of weird fishnet top underneath. I don't know. It's Rollins. So he took his jacket off, and he tossed it outside the ring. And he said, as they stand here right now, there is nothing in their way. There is nothing holding them back, nothing between them but air and hate. That's like me when I'm in the store and I'm waiting in line. Between me and the register. That was me earlier. I went to friggin' CVS. This line, you have never seen a line this long before. The only thing between me and the cashier was air and hate. I just want to be away from people. I just want to be away from people. I want to go get my thing that I need. I want to go home. I want to be away from people at this point. This is where I have gotten now in my life. I don't want to be around anybody. I just want to be left alone. That's it. So he said there's nothing but air and hate between the two of them. And he's got a feeling in his gut that tonight is the night that he knocks CM Punk on his ass. So Punk said he talks too much and he doesn't listen enough. He just said that he's put the personal stuff behind him. 6 months ago, Rollins was a champion. He had something that Punk wanted. Now he has nothing. You have nothing that I want. Punk knows what's in his future. He goes, and kid, you're not it. You've been thinking about me for 6 months. I don't think about you at all. Says, I've got things to do in this business, so stay out of my business. And at this point, as Punk was speaking, he was taking steps closer and closer and closer to Rollins to the point where they were virtually nose to nose at this point. So Rollins said, you talk too much. And you don't listen enough. This is my business. And he shoved Punk down on his ass. And Punk looked shook. Like he was shocked by this as he got shoved to the mat. And so he got back to his feet and Rollins now is squaring up. Like he's ready. He's like, come on, he's ready for a fight. And CM Punk, as much as I love this segment, I will say this is quite ridiculous. CM Punk gets up, and I don't want to reenact this because I don't even think I could look as bad as he did here, but he starts throwing shots like he was back in the UFC. And he connected with about as many shots as he connected with in the UFC, which is to say none. But he starts like, he's like flailing around like he's, ready to fight this guy. So all of a sudden, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, they hit the ring and they break them up. Jey took Punk because the two of them were like this, right? If you saw the post-show press conference on Saturday, Punk was he was dining on some desserts. He got up during the scrum there to go leave. Jey went with him. Was it just me, by the way, or did Sami Zayn look genuinely annoyed? Because Punk came into the scrum late. Sami loves to talk. And he was answering some question that somebody asked him. And Punk basically like interrupted in the middle of it. And I don't know, there were a few moments there where like Sami would look over at, and he wasn't really smiling. He would just kind of look over at Punk and like he looked kind of annoyed by him. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's get this guy out of here. Okay. The last time he was at a scrum, it didn't end well. So Punk just get up and leave. And he did. He took his desserts and Jey Uso went off with him. So they're outside the ring. And Rollins kept telling him, come on, am I your business now? So Punk tried to slide back into the ring. And he only got his head back inside. And Rollins starts, kicking him and stomping on him a few times. So finally they get Punk out of there. And Rollins, tells Punk and Jey, both of you, go ahead, go run back to Roman. So Sami now is offended by this. Because Sami Zayn and Jey Uso are very good friends. And now Rollins is besmirching the good name of Jey Uso. So he takes issue with that. And he gets hot at Seth for talking shit about Jey. Rollins said, you're right. You're right. Jey, right? Roman, they're family. I get it. They're family. But you're not. He's looking at Sami now. He goes, you're not. What's your excuse? Because you're not family. You and I are closer than you and Roman or you and Jey have ever been. We came into this business together. Right? This is going back to the days of fucking Tyler Black and El Generico, right? These guys traveled the same roads up and down for 20 years. We're more family than you are with them. You stabbed me in the back. Sami shot back and said, I didn't want CM Punk as our partner. If you remember, I came to you. I wanted you to be on our team in War Games. And not only did you say no, you said no twice. You think I wanted a team with this guy? I didn't want a team with him. I wanted a team with you, but you said no, which is a fair point, right? No lies detected there. We saw it. If you watched the show, twice he rejected him. So he said, we wouldn't have had to team with CM Punk if you would have just said yes in the first place, but you couldn't because you're too damn stubborn. So Seth asked him, what did you want me to team with you guys to do? Exactly. Like, oh, that's right. You wanted me to help Roman Reigns, to help that monster regain his power. Sami said, that monster, Roman Reigns, you created that monster. When you put a chair in his back 10 years ago. And see, this is part of what I love here. Because when you have these callbacks, this is what I mean when I talk about like story and when you're rewarded for story, you can go back in time and you can find these moments or these events, these matches, whatever it might be, and you can tie it into current storylines. And I love when they're able to do that. And it's such a great point because it was Rollins who betrayed the Shield. And it was Rollins who planted that chair in Roman's back. I remember that moment well because, I was one of these people at home going, no, because I didn't want to see the end of the Shield. I still thought they had juice for a little while longer as baby faces. But that's a moment. That's one of the biggest moments on Raw, right? In the last decade plus is the breakup of the Shield. And so you could easily look at that and go, you know what? He's not wrong, right? Sami's not wrong. Seth Rollins had just as much of a hand as anybody else in creating the version of Roman Reigns that we see today. Now, obviously, we didn't get the tribal chief immediately after Rollins did that, but it's all part of the evolution of the character. So I like that callback. He says, don't act like your hands are totally clean in all of this. And Rollins, he didn't. To his credit, he said that, look, I'm not acting like I'm completely innocent in all this, and I have apologized, and I have atoned for that. But if you're going to point fingers at me for putting a chair in Roman's back, you need to look in the mirror because you did the same damn thing, which he did at the Royal Rumble last year. And he doesn't fault Sami for it because Roman was the scum of the earth. He treated them all like crap. He treated his own family like crap. He understands why they all did what they did at WrestleMania this year to take down the bloodline. He says Roman Reigns hasn't changed. Has he apologized to anybody? No, he hasn't changed. That snake CM Punk sure hasn't changed. His stubbornness is not the issue. Sami's naivete is the issue. He's being gullible. He goes, honestly, you're being really stupid. Sami said, if you want to blow off a little steam, I got no issue with doing it in the middle of the ring right here tonight. And Seth said, if that's how you want it, I've got no problem with that either. And just like that, our main event for the show was made. This was an excellent, excellent segment. And I will say this, in my opinion, as good as the one that we got earlier this year, this had to be before WrestleMania, with Punk, Rollins, and McIntyre, which was my favorite, probably in-ring promo segment on any show this year. This was as good as that one, if not better. If not better. This had even more like callbacks, and the thing I loved about that segment with Punk and McIntyre and Rollins, other than they had some really great burns in that segment, I would say the burns were probably better there than here. But what made that segment so great was how realistic the hatred was. It felt, they did a great job of making you feel like these three guys really fucking hate each other, right? And maybe on some level there is real hatred that they tap into between Rollins and Punk for these things. But they made you feel like, okay, I can believe that these guys really don't like each other. You don't get that anymore, right? You got that back in the day. I mean, you could find different examples of that, whether it was with, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels in 97, of course, because they really didn't like each other. And there's been other examples of people who didn't like each other but had to work together. And it comes out on TV. You could just tell. But we don't get that kind of thing anymore. And I'm not saying I want everybody in the back to hate each other's guts because then you end up with a toxic work environment. I'm not saying that, right? Punk knows about that. But when they can make you feel like the hatred is real, they're doing their job. That's how I felt in that segment. And you felt some of that here in this segment with Punk and Rollins. But then the exchange with Rollins and Sami, not so much hatred, but just the dialogue, the way they were kind of going back and forth at each other. It had a realism to it. I was engrossed in the segment in a way that made me kind of forget about the fact like, oh, okay, yeah, they're going through their lines, but it didn't come across like they're just reading lines. It came across like a real back and forth dialogue between two friends that are having a disagreement. Those are the best types of promo segments. So I just thought everybody in this segment was great. Tons of callbacks. Like I said, the little historical nods to past angles and stories. Again, it started with Punk and Rollins. This was going to be the direction for WrestleMania this year. Punk got hurt, so they had to go a different way with it. I knew that Rollins would have a problem, and you should have too. Knew that Rollins was going to have a problem with CM Punk being in that War Games match. Even though Rollins, he was the one they came to and he said no. But remember the reason why he said no. This is what I mentioned last week. He said no because he could not bring himself to be even just a small part of Roman Reigns regaining power. He was a tyrant, right? He called him a tyrant. I can't do it. Well, CM Punk had no issue doing it. In Rollins' view, look what this guy's done, right? I don't like this guy to begin with. I don't trust this guy. I think this guy's full of shit. I think he's only here for himself. And all he did in his mind was prove it by saying, yeah, okay. I have a friend in Paul Heyman. I'll do a favor for a friend. Yeah, sure. I'll put more power back in this guy's hands. So you had to know that Rollins was not going to be happy about Punk being in that War Games match. And so we got that element, and then they just took it in a whole other direction with Sami and Rollins, and I just thought it was great. And so they've also introduced Jey Uso into this in a smaller part, and he would play a bigger part later in the show with another story that played itself out, which we'll get to. The other thing about this also, before I forget, nobody in this segment who talked sounded like they were full of shit. It's the Kevin Owens thing. where Sami Zayn was right in a lot of what he said, but so was Seth Rollins. So even though it looks like if anybody's going to go heel in this, I think it would be Rollins. Not necessarily, because the things that Rollins was saying were also true, right? In his mind, these are bad people. These are bad people. He doesn't want to associate with bad people. Roman Reigns is bad. CM Punk is bad. They're out for themselves. I'm here breaking my back and busting my ass. I care about this place. I care about this brand. They don't. Right? I mean, everything he was saying made sense. And I like that. I appreciate that, aspect of things. And Roman Reigns really hasn't changed. I've been telling you this for weeks. It's clear as day, right? All Sami wanted him to do was apologize to Jey Uso, and then he would be on their War Games team. Well, Sami's weak, so he ended up being on the team anyway. Roman couldn't even bring himself to apologize to his cousin. He's never apologized to anybody. He has alienated everybody on the roster, which is why nobody wanted to tag with him. The dude is a fucking asshole. He's right. So why are people cheering Roman Reigns when he comes out? OTC, and they put their fingers up in the air, right? The dude's a douchebag. Nothing these two were saying is wrong. As is usually the case, maybe it's the fans who were the heels here. The fans are just cheering for these people because I guess they think they're cool. They think Roman's cool, but it's the same Roman Reigns that they were booing before WrestleMania. So it's just funny. Kevin Owens, though, I bring him up because Kevin Owens is in a similar situation on SmackDown where everything Kevin Owens is saying is true, even though he's the heel in that program because he dropped Randy Orton on his head and everybody loves Randy Orton. But Kevin Owens speaks the truth. He speaks the truth. I love this segment, and that's a plot hole they're going to have to address at some point, is why Kevin Owens would have such an issue with everybody else associating with Roman Reigns and not, his best fucking friend teaming with him in War Games. We're going to have to revisit this soon. They're going to have to address that soon because that's a huge, glaring, gaping plot hole that has not been brought up yet, and hopefully it will. But this segment gets a thumbs up from me. She's a brick house. She's my tomato. She's letting it all hang out. Letting it all hang out. Letting it all hang out. Hey, there's CM Punk. Hey, Sarah. Welcome to the channel. You picked a great night for it. Enjoy your stay. We're going to let some of these cycle on through here. We got a whole bunch of them. Hey, there's Sidro. Sidro is with us as well. So after Survivor Series on Saturday night, Damian Priest once again screwed by Finn Balor out of the World Heavyweight Championship. There was a segment that they put up on YouTube. Oh my God. Oh my God, look who it is. As I live and breathe, it is our boy.
It's ABK. Always be killing it.
Always be killing it, ABK. Where has ABK been? ABK just dropped a $411 super chat bot. Are you kidding me? You know, it's easy to forget about the king when the king is away. You know, he's traveling the world. But sometimes the king just has to reappear and let people know who's the boss here. That's the job of ABK. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. Thank you. You always just leave me speechless. I don't even know what to say. That's unbelievable. Well, let's talk about this, though, because what we did not see on the pay-per-view was that Finn Balor was attacked. He was jumped by Damian Priest trying to get revenge. And then, of course, the entire Judgment Day, they mobbed Damian Priest. They laid a beatdown on him. This was backstage at Survivor Series, so they showed that. Anyway, we come back live, and the Judgment Day is backstage. Liv Morgan tells Finn Balor that she thought they all agreed to stay away from Damian. Finn says that he was going to, but Dom couldn't get the job done, so he had to. Says, maybe if Liv had listened to him, she might not have lost in War Games. So now she has to worry about Io Sky. Liv says, yes, we have a lot to focus on, and I'll take care of her. She just hopes that Finn knows what he's doing. And Balor says that when everybody listens to Finn, the Judgment Day win. I guess that's his new catchphrase. You should put that on a t-shirt. When everybody listens to Finn, the Judgment Day win. Then he walked off, and Liv then looks over at Dominik and asked him to go keep an eye on Finn, because she and Raquel were about to go out for their match, and Dom said, I'm on it. And he went to go follow Balor. And that next match was Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez taking on Damage Control, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. Io had Raquel draped over the ropes and went for a kick that completely missed. Then she put Liv down and went up top for her finish. Morgan, though, regrouped and tripped her up on the ropes. Raquel tagged in and set up for the Tejana bomb, but Io escaped and hit a missile drop kick. Kairi Sane then followed with an insane elbow and had the pin, but Liv broke it up. Io cleared Morgan from the ring and then took her out with a suicide dive. Kairi ran into a big boot by Raquel, who followed with a Tejana bomb, and she got the pin to win it for the heels. After the match, Raquel attacked Io, and Rhea Ripley's music hit. And I was very sad that Rhea was not wearing the half skull mask that we saw her wearing at Survivor Series. That mask was fucking badass. And we may never see it again now. I think they're missing out on selling a lot of action figures. If they don't make a Rhea Ripley half mask action figure, they're really missing out. Actually, they should make, you know what they should do? They should make replicas of the mask. Put them on WWE shit. Did you see this fucking hologram mask that AEW was selling on Shop AEW for like $50? This thing looks, it's pathetic. $50 for a hologram mask. You know how much money they could probably sell that Rhea Ripley replica for? This company markets everything. I've said it before. I mean, if they could tattoo a fucking logo on their mother's ass, they would do it if it would make money. They got to sell those masks. So anyway, Rhea Ripley comes out to the ring. Liv Morgan was making like she was going to stay and fight, but then before Rhea hit the ring, Liv bailed, left Raquel all by herself. Ripley then cleared Raquel from the ring with a clothesline. Outside the ring, Morgan hopped on Ripley's back, but she backed into the ring post. And then Raquel kicked Rhea and then ran her eye first into the edge of the announce desk, and Rhea sold the eye. And they said that's the same eye that had the broken, or has, the broken orbital socket. And so Rhea was selling the injury. Now, they made the announcement. I told you that we now have a date and location for the Women's World title match. Io Sky is going to challenge Liv Morgan for the championship at Saturday night's main event. So not this weekend coming up, but the following weekend. That'll be on Long Island. So now we know at least when and where that title match is going to take place. And I wonder if they shot the angle here where Rhea was selling the eye, because I don't think we heard from her or any update on her for the rest of the show. Assuming they did this for a reason, I wonder if it's to get her off television for a couple of weeks. So that way it's just keep the focus on Io. She's going into the title match next weekend. And then once that match is over, and I certainly don't expect Liv to drop the belt before she gets back in the ring with Rhea, then we'll see Rhea back on TV. So I don't think Rhea's going to be gone for long, but I wonder if this was to kind of put her on the back burner for a couple of weeks. And then after Saturday night's main event, we'll see her back. And then, my guess, we get Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship on that first Netflix Raw on January 6th. And that's where Rhea wins the belt back. They're not even going to wait until the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble's February 1st. That's still a ways away. I don't think they need to wait that long. You want to do some big things on that first Raw in January, Rhea Ripley against Liv Morgan, whatever stipulation you want to give it, Rhea Ripley wins the championship back. She goes into WrestleMania season as the Women's World Champion. That's how you book it. Now, backstage, Kathy Kelly was with Gunther after his World Heavyweight title win over Damian Priest on Saturday. And before she could even get her question out... Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'm wrong then. I forgot. They did it. Did they make the announcement of Rhea and Raquel? Okay.
Look at
Well, there you go.
Rich over here dropping all this money on me. Hey,
So much for keeping her
I just
out.
want you to know, I think you rock. I don't mean The Rock.
That's right. They did
A-Rock,
announce that. I forgot
you
about
rock.
that.
And I just wanted you to know that.
ABK with another $100
Look at
bomb.
Richie Rich
Oh my
over
God.
here dropping all this money on me. Hey, I just want you to know, I think you rock. I don't mean The Rock, A-Rock, you rock.
Jeez.
And I just wanted you to know that.
Boots says, ABK, I'm here too. With a $100 super chat of his own. I'm going to set up Boots and ABK for WrestleMania. How about that? We got to come up with a match for David Thiering as well, though. We got 2 nights of WrestleMania, right? So we can put together 2 main events. Hey, both of you, thank you sincerely. Wow, this has been quite the night. But yes, I stand corrected. I'm sorry. Rhea Ripley is already announced for a match next Monday with Raquel Rodriguez. So much for keeping her out for a week or 2. I guess her eye's not that hurt. Hey, you know what? Maybe she'll get the mask back on. If her eye is injured, put the mask back on. There you go. Well, anyway, so now we know when Io is going to get her title match and is going to lose. Because I just cannot imagine, as much as I love Io, I cannot imagine they are going to put that belt on anybody but Rhea Ripley. Because you're going to want to get Rhea and Liv back in the ring, and if not for the title, then what the hell is the point? That's why I said, if Io was not part of this, and Io was maybe in that tournament, she'd be my pick. She'd be my favorite to win the Intercontinental title. But she's not a part of that tournament. So Kathy Kelly in the back with Gunther. Before she could even get her question out, Finn Balor showed up, and he had Dom with him. Balor thinks that Gunther owes him a title match. Says it was the second time that he faced Damian for the championship, and it was the second time that Gunther walked out as champion because of him. And instead of kicking him in the face, which is what Gunther did to Finn Balor on Saturday, he should be shaking his hand. Gunther said, I never asked for your help. I didn't need your help. I had a terrible time leading up to Survivor Series. I had to win that match by myself, for myself. And you took that away from me. Balor said, well, shouldn't you want to face me then? Gunther asked Dom, hey, why do you look so confident over there? He says he knows why, because unlike Balor, Dominik actually scored a win over Damian Priest. Balor didn't like that very much. And for that, Gunther said he thinks that Dom deserves a little something, and he's feeling really good tonight. And so what he's going to do, he's got some pull. He's got some sway around here. And he's going to go have a chat with Adam Pearce. If you remember in my Survivor Series review, it seemed pretty clear to me, just based on Gunther kicking Balor in the face, that Balor was going to be worked into this world championship picture. It wasn't going to be a case where, okay, we're going to do Balor and Priest again, and Gunther's just going to go on to do something else. I was figuring triple threat. We may still get a triple threat. We could get a triple threat on that first Netflix Raw. The way they're building up Saturday night's main event, they're going to build up that first Raw the same way, if not bigger. So I still think the destination here is going to be Gunther, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. They have announced Gunther is going to defend the World Heavyweight title on Saturday night's main event against Finn Balor one-on-one. How does Damian Priest not get involved? Both of his championship matches have been fucked by Finn Balor. Why wouldn't Damian Priest get involved? He gets involved, we end up with a triple threat match on January 6th. Seems pretty clear to me. We then had a first round triple threat match in the tournament to crown the first ever women's Intercontinental champion with Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, and Katana Chance. Not much of a match because most of it took place during the commercial break, but Baszler had Dakota Kai locked in the Kirifuda clutch. Down on the mat, Katana Chance goes up top to break up the hold with a 450 splash, but Dakota was able to roll herself over. So when Katana Chance hit the move, she landed on Shayna Baszler. And that took Baszler out of the picture. Dakota grabbed Katana and hit kind of like a GTS variation, but she caught her with a kick on the way down. And then she pinned her to advance to the next round. And the crowd did pop for the finish. So they were happy to see Dakota pick up the win. This is the tournament bracket. Let's put this up on the screen right now. And shout out to the 1,600 plus joining me right now. This is your bracket for the Women's Intercontinental Championship Tournament. Dakota Kai has advanced. We have Zoe Stark, Raquel Rodriguez, and Caden Carter are going to be in a match. That's one side of the bracket. On the other side of the bracket, Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, and Ivy Nile, which I believe is taking place next week. And the winner of that will meet the winner of Alba Fire, Kairi Sane, and Natalya. So I'm going to do with this what I did with the U.S. title bracket. Let's make a prediction. Now, what I said on the podcast this weekend is that I think it's either Dakota Kai or Lyra Valkyria, and I settled on Lyra to become the first Intercontinental Champion. I'm going to stick with that, and the way I think it's going to play out here as I look at this, I think we're going to get Dakota. Let's see here. We're not going to get Caden Carter, so it's going to be either Dakota and Zoe or Dakota and Raquel. And, that's a good question. That's a good question. I'm going to go Zoe, because I have a feeling Raquel is going to be taken out by other means. So let's say Dakota Kai and Zoe Stark in the next round. And then let's put Dakota in the finals. Lyra will win her match. And I think with Alba, Kairi, and Natalya, I'll go Kairi. Lyra beats Kairi. Lyra and Dakota, because that way it makes it unpredictable. I think it could go either way. But I'm going to go with Lyra Valkyria to become the first Intercontinental Champion. Now, remember, they aired that video promo for Dakota a couple weeks ago. And at the end of that video promo, she says she will be a champion again. Interestingly, the two women who got video promo treatment in the last few weeks, Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria. So Dakota did mention being a champion again. Again, wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being her. I mean, look, the conception of these mid-card titles ultimately is for people like Dakota Kai. Dakota, Lyra, Zoe, these are the people, even if they're not the first, these are the people that an Intercontinental title, you hope, can help elevate. This is going to be a situation where the person doesn't make the title is going to have to help make the person. There's a lot of women in the mid-card right now who could benefit from something like this and could use that help, could use that rub of being a champion. So Dakota Kai fits into that category, but I'm going to stick with Lyra for the time. Just like I'm sticking with Naomi to be the first women's U.S. champion over on SmackDown.
Look at Richie Rich over here dropping all
Richie
this money
Rich is
on
back
me.
again.
Hey, I just want you to know, I think you rock. I don't mean The Rock, A Rock, you rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
Richie Rich is back again. We have already blasted past 500 likes. Are we on our way to 600? Is that true? Hey, ABK with another $100 bomb, and then Alex with a $25 Brie mode activated.
Look at Richie Rich over here dropping all this money.
Richie Rich is making a lot of appearances on the stream tonight.
I think you rock. I don't mean The Rock, A Rock, you rock.
More than ever.
And I just wanted you to know that.
Richie Rich he's getting a workout here on this stream. You guys are unbelievable. You guys are unbelievable. We may have to really, if this keeps up, should I set another goal? We may have to add some steps or something to the second Be the Booker that we're going to do. You think on that. You let me know. But now we get to the big deal here. The big deal that opened up the top of the hour on this show. As great as the opening segment was on this show, this right here was just as good. So before this, they aired a video tribute to the New Day. It was just a collection of highlights from their run over the last 10 years. And again, very impressive. You will not find a faction in wrestling that has stayed together. Right? Up until now, there's been no breakup. There's been not even a tease of a breakup. These guys have been together. They've been rock solid now for 10 years. Obviously, Big E the last couple of years has not really been on television. And they're in the Hall of Fame for that alone, if nothing else. And I said on the podcast this weekend that I personally did not view Kofi Kingston as a Hall of Famer until he linked up with the New Day, and his career obviously went through everything it went through. Kofi Mania, winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, because Kofi made that comment last week that I was a Hall of Famer when you met me. Don't forget that. And I said, nah, I don't know if you really were. But nobody can deny that the New Day and the success this group has had has certainly earned them a spot in any legitimate wrestling Hall of Fame having to do with WWE. So anyway, they aired the video package. We come back live now. Adam Pearce is in the ring to introduce Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. And they had all sorts of New Day memorabilia in the ring with the carpet, special ceremony. So they had like a balloon arch, and they had the old penny tag team belts, the old ugly penny tag team belts, the copper belts. They had a box of Bootios, and they had Xavier's King of the Ring crown. That was a second crown, right? Because didn't Roman Reigns destroy the first one? So I think maybe this was the second one. They made him a new one, I think. So out come Kofi and Xavier. And the last we saw these two in the ring last week, they were just lobbing bombs at each other in the back. It was great. It was the highlight of the night. It was the best thing on the entire show, and it was the most compelling thing the New Day has done in years. I loved that segment last week. Again, realism. It had that air of realism to it. Kofi Kingston, you don't see Kofi Kingston get mad like he did last week. It was just such a departure from all the bullshit that we've seen with these guys, with the unicorn horns and the pancakes and all that kind of stuff for years. It was just different, and it was nice. So they're in the ring here, and they thanked the fans for their support. Fans started chanting for Big E. And Woods said, look, we miss him too. Right? Wanting to make you think he's not there. We miss him too. But we really wanted to come out here face to face with all of you to tell you what we're about to tell you is not your fault. So right out of the gate, they're setting you up for disappointment here. They want you to think, oh shit, here we go. This is it. This is it. This is the end of the New Day. Kofi says, the two of us have talked, and in light of what went down between the two of us last week, we both feel that when it comes to the New Day going forward, right, they're about to lower the boom on you, and then they get interrupted by, y'all go big, right? They play his music, and here comes Big E. And he's wearing a dress shirt. He's got a sport jacket over it. Has a microphone in his hand. Comes down to the ring. It's the first time I think I've actually seen Big E in the ring in years, right? He's been doing pre-show panels and stuff in studio, but I don't think I've actually seen him in the ring since the last match that he had. So he's looking very sad. This is not the usual happy-go-lucky Big E. He's not in the ring, sticking his tongue out, gyrating, doing the splits, right? Again, this is serious. This is serious shit here. He said that he wished he was here under different circumstances because to see Kofi and Woods argue and bicker and say some of the most hurtful things you can imagine to each other, that troubled his soul, something deep. When they started this 10 years ago, they were all they had. They had each other. They didn't have anything else. So 10 years ago, Kofi was mulling retirement because he had his passion beaten out of him. I'm sure that's a shoot for a lot of people who were working in WWE back then. There were a lot of people that worked in that company, I'm sure, that had their passion beaten out of them. Not hard to understand why. Said Woods and himself were this close to being fired. And on the worst day of his life, the two of them were at his side in the hospital, making sure that he was good. A few months after Kofi's daughter was born, he got to hold her for the first time. He was still in his neck brace. When Woods got back from winning King of the Ring, right, because he won it over in Saudi Arabia. When he got back from winning King of the Ring, his childhood dream, that was Xavier's dream, Big E was the first person to greet him. He said what they built means something to a lot of people, and it means a hell of a lot to him. So, until he is medically cleared to return to this ring, he is going to remind the two of them exactly who they are. He is going to be here to cheer for them, to root for them. He's going to be here every single week to serve as the New Day's manager. And the fans cheered. They loved it, right? They want to see Big E be the great. We're going to have him back on TV every week, right? This is something I thought we would have had a long time ago. And so they want you to think everything's great again, and they're back on the same page, and now the New Day is finally united again. But the response that he got is not the response that he was expecting, or anybody else watching this show for that matter. Xavier Woods says, now you come back. After you watched us fight for months. He goes, E, you left us. E told him, like, dude, I broke my neck. And Kofi yelled at him and said, you left us. Said, yeah, you broke your neck. So what? Said, Stone Cold Steve Austin broke his neck. He came back. Kurt Angle broke his neck. But he came back. See, what he should have said is Kurt Angle, he broke his freaking neck. He rolled out of bed that morning. He rolled out of bed every morning and broke his neck. He still came to work because he's out of his mind. And now he's paying the price for it. You see Kurt now, it's like, well, what do you expect? You know, when you're wrestling with a broken neck and a broken this and a broken that, you don't slow down. Unfortunately, you end up all crippled up when you get older. It's all atrophied now. Kurt Angle broke his neck and he came back. He said Edge broke his neck and he came back. Woods said that they didn't even have people waiting for them. Big E had 2 people waiting for him, the 2 of them. And what did he do with that? Nothing. He said he and Kofi, they just kind of maintained the status quo. They didn't evolve for him. They were waiting for him to come back so they could pick up where they left off and keep doing their thing. They did that for him. Kofi said, you mean to tell me that as big and as strong as you are, plus you never even had to have surgery on your neck, which is true. He didn't. He ended up not needing surgery. You mean to tell me that you could not have been back here a long time ago if you wanted to be? Big E said, dude, I've been meeting with doctors. I've been getting x-rays and scans and MRIs done. And Woods said, yes, we've heard this all before. He said, I tore my Achilles heel off the bone, and I actually had to have surgery. And I was back in 9 months for you. Kofi said that if he truly cared about them, he'd have been back here a long time ago by their side, encouraging them. But nah, he chose his new life over them. He chose his new projects over them. He chose his new girlfriend over them. Is he dating Mia Yim's sister? Last I heard, I think he was dating Mia Yim's sister. I don't know if that's changed or not, but I occasionally see Big E. I don't think I'm following him, but his posts come across my timeline, and he looks very happy. I'm happy for him, but I think it's Mia Yim's sister that he's dating. But Kofi said you chose your new desk job over us. Woods said, E, listen up. Do you even realize the burden that you've become? Everywhere we go, every city that we go to, we're on the road all the time. We hear people say, oh, we miss Big E. We miss Big E. As if they don't. But obviously, E doesn't miss them. Kofi said their philosophy since day one has always been about the brotherhood before anything else. We before me. But you, broken neck or not, you chose yourself over us. Woods said, let's stop teasing all these people. Let's tell them the truth. You are never going to be medically cleared. And since that's the case, why don't you get the hell out of this ring and get back to your desk where you belong? He said, and we'll call you if we need you. See that right? I mean, that's like the knife being driven in right there. So now Big E, he's not even talking into the mic at this point. Big E off mic, he's looking at them and he's like, you're not just going to throw this away just like that. We can fix this. Come on, man, a decade. A decade, man. We're family. Come on. And he wanted a hug. Kofi put his arm out to prevent him from coming in for a hug up against his chest. And all Woods did was he just turned his head to look away from him. And E said, so that's it? It's over? Just like that? And he left the ring. And he looked heartbroken. He looked like he was about to start crying. He was devastated. Meanwhile, Kofi and Woods, they now come face to face in the middle of the ring. And Woods told him, it's just me and you now. And Kofi said, it's just us, bro. And they locked arms, and the crowd booed. This right here, and I said this on Twitter in the middle of the show tonight. This, up to this point, this was like 9:15. It was about 9:15 when this segment ended. It's about a 15-minute segment. We got some of the best storytelling on this show that we have gotten all year, condensed into the first 75 minutes of this show. This segment was tremendous. Tremendous stuff. The opening segment was great. This segment was great too. And again, it comes down to story. When you have 10 years of equity, 10 years these guys have been together. So they have the benefit of being able to draw on all of that history, and they've incorporated Big E's injury now into this storyline. They were able to use Big E, a man who may never wrestle again, although we'll talk about that in a second. I have my doubts about that now. But they were able to take Big E and create this sympathetic figure and use him, use that as the impetus for turning the New Day heel. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, the things they were saying to Big E out there, and the way they just sort of cast him aside like a leper. Tremendous way to get heat on these guys, because how do you turn the New Day heel? What's the best way to do that? What's the best way to turn the New Day heel? The only thing they could have done that would have gotten them even more heat would be to beat up Big E. And I thought that, now for a minute there, I thought maybe they were going to lay him out. But, you know, he's probably legitimately, he's still not medically cleared. I don't know what level of physicality. My guess is he can't do anything. He's not cleared to do anything physical. And also, I'm actually kind of happy they didn't put their hands on him and beat him up. You know, like hit him from behind or, you know, something like that, because then I feel like that would have been a little too over the top. You know, you talk about going from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. There may be people who don't like this segment or have an issue with it because they just feel like, well, this hatred or this resentment of Big E kind of came out of nowhere. I think that's a valid criticism if you fall into that camp, you know, because there's been no indication on television of this. There's been no hint of this at all, and it did feel like it kind of just came out of nowhere. I look at it as Big E comes back. These two have been having issues. Now, they were going to break up, legitimately break up, but now Big E thinks he can fix the entire situation. Oh, I'm back. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be your manager. Now I'm going to be here every single day, every single week that you guys are out here. I'm going to be here rooting you on. And again, if you kind of put yourself in their position here, right? If you try to make sense of this here, you can kind of understand where it's like, wait a minute. You see that the two of us are having issues and we're about to go our separate ways, and you don't want to see that because it makes you feel sad. And so now you're back and you're going to be our manager. What stopped you from coming back and being our manager a year ago? 6 months ago, 18 months ago. Now you want to come back and be our manager? Now you want to come back and be our cheerleader here, a cheerleader for the New Day, when we could have used you back then? Now you're going to come back? Just like Xavier Woods said, now you want to come back. You could kind of understand it. And then they just sort of let all their emotions just pour out. So I'm okay with it. And the segment worked for me. I see that could be a valid criticism, but it worked for me. And I thought they did a good job as far as them trying to justify the way that they were feeling. And I like how they made you think they were going to split, but then they kind of weaved and went in a totally different direction with it. But to go back to the point that he made about, let's just let the cat out of the bag here, you're never going to be medically cleared. I don't think that they script that line into the segment unless they know or they really do think that Big E is close to being medically cleared to come back to the ring. I heard that line and I looked at that as, oh, he's coming back. It's just a matter of when and not if. I don't know that, but that was my immediate feeling coming out of this segment. As great as the heel turn was, like, oh shit, we're going to get Big E back in the ring soon. Maybe we're going to get a triple threat match at WrestleMania next year. Maybe it's the New Day. It's Big E against Xavier Woods against Kofi Kingston, right? We never got a Shield triple threat at WrestleMania, but we may actually get a New Day triple threat in Las Vegas next year. I actually think after this segment, it's a real possibility. And what a great moment that'll be if Big E can get medically cleared and get back in the ring. I think that's what they're building to. And then, look, eventually, all brothers make up. The eventual reunion is going to be a big moment, and it's going to get a big reaction from people when these three eventually mend fences and make up, and they reunite the New Day once again. You will always have the reunion for down the road that you can cash in on, and it's going to be a great moment. But for now, this new look, New Day of Kofi and Xavier Woods just going out there and maybe trying to be like, vicious, evil prick heels, I'm here for it. This is a side of New Day that I am very much looking forward to seeing, to see if they can pull it off, to see how the crowd reacts to it, to see where the Big E aspect of the story goes. When is the next time that we're going to see him on television, right? Obviously, he's not going to be their manager now. But if Big E is going to be cleared and he is eventually going to be back in the ring, when do we see him next? Is he going to be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble? Can you imagine in the Royal Rumble, fucking number 18, and all of a sudden we hear, y'all go big, and then he comes out? People would lose their minds. Gets in the ring, goes after Kofi, goes after Woods. I mean, it's nice to think about, how that might play out. And I hope I'm not setting myself up for disappointment here, but I really don't think that line is in that promo that way unless they think or they know that he is, at the end of all this, going to be back in the ring. So I thought this was fantastic television. This was tremendous. Always comes back to the story. It's like I said at the beginning of the stream, if you just judge this show on the in-ring, it's fucking average at best show. Your typical run-of-the-mill Raw or SmackDown. But that's not what tonight was all about. Tonight was strong enough, even in the absence of a banger match. Like, we've had banger matches on Raw with Sheamus, right? In the absence of, any banger matches on tonight's show, it was these segments that really carried the day. This was tremendous. We got a Karrion Kross video promo. Actually, this was pretty good, too. He said that he's done some terrible things to people that he is actually proud of. He said he has a tolerance when people do things back to him, but he took issue with that creature being sent to go after his wife. And they showed the footage from last week when Nikki Cross, we didn't see the attack, but when Nikki Cross basically attacked or tormented Scarlett backstage, and that's what he's referring to there. He said he wants the Wyatt 6 in the arena next week. He said that they started the fire, and now he will make sure that they burn in it. I like this. I like the fire in his delivery, and I like that we're going to get a match now. Next week, we're going to get an 8-man tag between the Final Testament and The Miz and the Wyatt 6. We were so close. So close to that Survivor Series elimination match that we didn't get this weekend. No elimination rules now. It's just going to be a traditional 8-man tag, but we are going to get the match next week. And we just hit 600 likes on the video, I'm being told. That's fucking beast. Thank you, guys. Let's run up the score here. Let's shoot for 650 now. We had Gunther. He got his match, non-title, against Dominik Mysterio. Dominik told Carlito and JD McDonough that he wants to do this on his own. He left them up on stage. Gunther started with a huge boot. Dom was able to get him out of the ring, though, and then hit a suicide dive. That was ahead of the commercial break. They come back from break. Dominik is trying to get some offense going. Gunther slaps his chest. He locks him then in a Boston Crab. Dominik reaches for the ropes. Gunther pulls him right back to the center of the ring. So Dom crawls towards the ropes. Finally, he gets it. Gunther shoves Dominik by the head, turns him to the corner, starts mocking the Eddie shimmy. Huge chop to Dom. Then we get a chop from Dom. He chopped Gunther. Gunther with one of his own puts a sleeper hold on. Now they got the referee trapped in the corner. And Dominik hits a low blow from behind. He lifted his leg and he low blowed Gunther. Then he goes and he hits a 619. Dominik then hits a drop kick. He hits another 619. He goes to the top rope. He comes flying off. He hits the frog splash. They got this great dramatic near fall out of it. During a Judgment Day match, no less. You talk about perfect timing on that interruption. Ian Noel with the $32 super chat. Thank you, Ian. Dominik tried for a suplex. Gunther avoided it and hit the power bomb, and he pinned Dominik. After the match was over, Finn Balor showed up, and he caught Gunther with a sling blade. Then he hit the coup de grace off the top rope. He goes over to the corner. Dominik's laying down in the corner over there. And he tells Dom, watch and learn, kid. He goes back to the top rope. He hits a second double stomp. And then he hits another one. 3 of them. Finn grabs the championship. And he tosses it over Gunther's body. As Balor is leaving, you could hear him say, that's how you do it. Dom needs to watch and learn. I'll teach him. So this was interesting in that, well, first of all, just doing Gunther against Dominik, I thought maybe it would be more of a beating that Dom would get than he actually got here. But Gunther was positioned oddly enough as a babyface in this situation. I don't think he's going babyface. I don't think that's what this means at all. What I do think it means, we've been talking a little bit about the future of the Judgment Day. And how does this end? Do they just lose their championships and then just disband the group? Or does Finn Balor get kicked out of the group? I think Balor getting kicked out in favor of Dom taking over as the leader and having to look at Dom lead his own faction, that intrigues me. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but that intrigues me. And I think with what the story is here, we could very well be looking at Finn Balor ultimately being kicked out of the Judgment Day and Dominik being the one to take over. You know, he's basically telling Dom, all right, kid, I'll show you how it's done, kid. I'll school you, kid. Right? I mean, how long is Dom going to put up with that? I think Balor's getting a little too big for his britches, and in the end, he may be the one who gets excommunicated next from this group. Hey, look, it happened to Edge. It happened to Edge, and I think it's going to happen to Finn Balor as well. Only a matter of when. That was my sense coming out of this. Kathy Kelly in the back interviewed Pete Dunne about his match against R-Truth. There had to be one on this show. They can't all be winners. So she wondered if Truth thought that he was facing Butch, but Dunne stopped her from saying Butch. He looked into the camera and he stressed, "My name is Pete Dunne." And there was some commotion. We heard like a pipe falling on the floor in the background. Something was going on. And the camera then follows Adam Pearce and some trainers. They find Jey Uso, and he is sitting on the ground holding the back of his head. He has just been attacked. We don't know by who, but somebody just jumped Jey Uso. So we have another whodunit now. Right? We have a whodunit on SmackDown with Jade Cargill, and now we have a whodunit here on Raw with Jey Uso. Then we had Pete Dunne against R-Truth. Here's the match. You ready? Pete Dunne was in control, but he got distracted by the crowd chanting Butch. So with that distraction, R-Truth applied a schoolboy, rolled him up, and pinned him in about a minute. You know, at this point, the only thing really separating Pete Dunne from Giovanni Vinci is the fact that Pete Dunne actually gets some television time, and Giovanni Vinci does not. Otherwise, they're pretty much in the same boat. And I hate matches like this. I hate finishes like this. They don't do anything for anybody. Obviously, the point here is with Pete Dunne, they're trying to have him rack up losses, I guess, and drive him to the point of just losing his mind because R-Truth keeps getting under his skin. I guess that's the point of it, but I just don't see how this really benefits anybody. And stories like this, they usually don't lead to anything all that great for the person who the story is based around. So for Pete Dunne, where this goes is probably nowhere good. Easily the worst thing on the entire show. Not much else to say about it. Kathy Kelly interviewed the Intercontinental Champion in the back. Braun Breaker, coming off that excellent triple threat match at the Survivor Series. My favorite match of the night. They had an excellent match on Saturday. She said Sheamus cracked a rib during the triple threat. Ludwig Kaiser showed up and asked Breaker if he was happy with himself for stealing his pin. Kaiser said that it didn't matter because he accomplished what he needed to. He said Sheamus broke his rib, if you remember that, many months ago, and he returned the favor. A rib for a rib. I think Pete Dunne is having a rib played on him right now. Kaiser said there's nothing stopping him from taking the Intercontinental title and bringing it back to Imperium where it belongs. And Breaker said, is that a challenge? He asked Kaiser, or he said Kaiser, will never hold the championship, but he gave him his props for the match at Survivor Series. He said Kaiser should look to get out of Gunther's shadow quickly because Gunther's stock is plummeting. Well, I mean, he already is, right? Think about it. Gunther got attacked by Finn Balor after his match earlier. 3 foot stomps off the top. No Ludwig Kaiser, right? Kaiser didn't come out to save him. So already they're putting that separation between them, which is good. I like that because Kaiser should be able to stand on his own. You know, he's a talented guy. He doesn't need to be Gunther's lackey. There's no future in that. There's no future in that. If you do a breakup angle eventually or Gunther beats him up, then what? He's going to end up like Giovanni Vinci. He's too good for that. But it is a little bit strange, though, that the two top champions on Raw right now, they're both heels, right? I mean, Breaker, I guess I kind of look at Braun Breaker as a bit of a tweener. And the fans, they do cheer like the cool spots that he does, because how can you not, right? I mean, the guy's just a wild athlete. He can do things in there that a lot of people can't do, and it's exciting to watch. He's very intense. People like that. That's what they liked about Goldberg when he got hot in WCW. And he's got a lot of that in him. But he's been positioned mostly as a heel. You know, he's wrestling Sheamus and Jey Uso, people that the fans want to cheer for. Same thing with Gunther. Right? He's been booked as a heel champion, but not in the traditional sense that you usually see a heel champion in WWE. That's what I love about Gunther and his presentation. But they're still portrayed as heels. So you have Gunther, the heel champion, who's getting attacked by another heel in Finn Balor. And now you have Braun Breaker, who's about to enter into another match with a heel in Ludwig Kaiser. So that's it's a little strange. Makes that dynamic a little bit awkward. It'll probably make the crowd reaction a little bit awkward as well. But again, Breaker's getting a lot of cheers too. As much as he gets booed, he gets cheered. At some point, they're going to have no choice but to just let him just run as a babyface. Backstage, Sami Zayn, a very angry Sami Zayn, went up to Adam Pearce and wanted to know who attacked Jey Uso. And Pearce said he didn't know, and then he asked Sami, who do you think is responsible? And Zayn said, I'm about to go to the ring and kick that person's ass. So clearly the implication being it was Seth Rollins in his mind. And that led into the main event, which was Sami Zayn one-on-one against Seth Rollins. Rollins had on 1 black boot and 1 white boot, and that's still the least ridiculous that he has looked all year. Zayn went for a haluva kick. Rollins caught him with a super kick. And then he went for a stomp. Sami rolled out of the ring to avoid it. Rollins rolled to the floor, and he told Sami, the fight is with Punk. And he wants Sami to understand that. And Sami, in response, smacked him across the face and said, I know it was you. Rollins ran Zayn into the ring post, tossed him over the barricade by the timekeeper's area. When Rollins approached the barricade there, Sami caught him with a kick to the head. So Rollins is back in the ring. Sami grabs a chair, and he brings it back into the ring with him. Rollins is on the mat. He's looking up at Sami like, what are you doing? And Sami accused Seth of attacking Jey Uso. And Rollins said that he wouldn't do that. And he asked Sami if he questioned CM Punk. And Sami thought about it, and he thought about it for a little bit, and then he ended up tossing the chair out of the ring. But when he went back over to approach Rollins, Seth caught him in an inside cradle, and he got the 3 count. Kind of an underwhelming finish, and the crowd also was like, eh. After the match, Rollins, who's on his knees, is looking over at Sami, tells Sami, look, I love your heart, but you've got to start using your head. Rollins leaves the ring. He's playing to the crowd as he's walking out. The camera got a tight shot on Sami Zayn, who's standing in the ring, leaning up against the ropes, looking at Seth as he's leaving, but you could hear a commotion in the background. Anytime you get like a tight camera shot like that, it's to, kind of protect the reveal of whoever it is that's about to attack. So you knew somebody was about to hit the ring. And I will tell you, my first thought was Kevin Owens. Because I keep coming back to that logic gap. And I actually thought, and I still think Kevin Owens could be the culprit who attacked Jey Uso. But it wasn't Kevin Owens who attacked Sami Zayn in the ring. He turned around into a Claymore kick from a person dressed in a hoodie. Oh, gee, I wonder who it could be. Who would deliver a Claymore kick to somebody? I love how when he finally pulled the hood down to reveal that it was, of course, Drew McIntyre, then people reacted. Like, you couldn't fucking figure out who it was, from the very start. But yes, it was Drew McIntyre, and that's how they went off the air. And so there's your likely attacker, right? But that's who they want you to think it is. They want you to think it was Drew McIntyre. That's the easy answer. It could just as easily be a red herring. And I'm throwing Kevin Owens out there as a possibility. I mean, think about it, right? No reason that Owens shouldn't have an issue with Sami Zayn, just like he has an issue with Cody Rhodes. It also makes sense that Sami would attack somebody like Jey Uso, because Jey Uso was helping Roman Reigns in War Games, right? Kevin Owens will always have an issue now with the bloodline after what they did to him. So him attacking Jey would actually make sense. Just don't be so sure automatically that it's Drew McIntyre. I'm keeping Kevin Owens there as my wild card possibility for the spot. If it is Drew McIntyre, if it's as simple as, yep, I'm the one who attacked Jey Uso, then it would appear that he is targeting anybody who is associating with CM Punk. And I don't know how I feel about that, because that feud has already run its course. The blow-off was Hell in a Cell. I thought maybe what I would have done is I would have arranged for a trade, and I would have found a way to get McIntyre on SmackDown, because how could he and Punk coexist on the same show? But they're keeping him on Raw. But you can't just continue the Punk and McIntyre stuff, because it's already been done. You've already paid it off. So I don't really know if I like that idea, if that's the logic behind it. I don't know if I like that idea very much. One thing I will say, it's great to have McIntyre back. I know they gave him some time off. He was dealing with or tending to some family stuff. His family's over in Scotland. And so he got some time off. He wasn't hurt or anything like that. Well, I mean, I guess he had the staples or stitches in his head from the Hell in a Cell match, but that was fucking 2 months ago. But it's great to have him back, and he's a big gun that they have now back on the Raw brand going into this Netflix debut. And we will see. We will see if he is targeting people associated with CM Punk or if there's some other rationale behind it. But they left us with a lot of questions, and there were a lot of very newsworthy developments on this show tonight. And I thought it was one of the best Raws all year. It got me excited now for where these stories are going to go moving forward. And the best part about it is, again, this is a time of year where in the past they have tended to phone it in. There's not a whole lot going on as you go into the Christmas holiday and New Year's, and then finally things start to pick up after the New Year for the Rumble. But this was not a phoned-in show. Quite the opposite. And if you were underwhelmed, as I was, by Survivor Series, they certainly gave you stuff on this show to get excited about. Two of the best segments all year, too, with the opening segment and the New Day segment. Next week, they have announced Ria Ripley against Raquel Rodriguez, as I was corrected by earlier on. Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, and Ivy Nile. They're up next in the Intercontinental title tournament first round match. And The Miz will team with the Final Testament to take on the Wyatt Six in an 8-man, apparently not elimination, tag team match. So they've already announced 3 matches for the show next week, which is great. I love this show. I love saying that I love this show because I can't tell you how many Raws I used to say just the opposite. And for all the people who say, well, how do you feel now about 2-hour Raws and 3-hour Raws, right? See? You could do a 2-hour Raw and it could be the best show all year. And I'm going to enjoy these last few weeks of 2-hour Raws. What did you think of Raw? 94.4% thumbs up. 5.5% thumbs down. That right there may be a record for any Raw poll that I have ever put up. Not saying there haven't been some 95s or 96s. I just don't remember them. So if this is not number 1, this has definitely got to be top 3 or top 5 all time here for all the polls I've posted. At Solomonster on X is where you can vote. You want to chime in on that? You guys know where to find the polls, of course. Of course, of course. A horse, of course. What story is that from? It's like the witch who ate the fly or something, or the horse who ate the fly. What the fuck was that story? Anyway. Well, we certainly know we have a lot of super chats to get into here. Someone did the why are you crying so loud with Big E face? Let's get into these because there's a lot. There's a lot to get into here with your messages. David, my goodness. My goodness, David Thiering, holy shit. Let me go back here to the early ones. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, the Winston slip kicked us off earlier. Feels like a lifetime ago now. Happy birthday, Fire Panda. You're the best. Yes. Again, I already said it before, but if you were late into the stream, Fire Panda, who's a big fan of the streams and a big part of our community here, celebrating her 22nd birthday. So I want everybody to wish Fire Panda a very happy birthday. Brother Fluff Salisbury, serious question. Do you think that Jeff Hardy knows that Seth Rollins has stolen his late 90s wardrobe? I don't think Jeff Hardy cares, but I'm sure he's aware. Josh Carlos, this Pete Dunne truth nonsense is terrible. Remember when we thought he got his name back, he would be taken seriously? Yeah, not so much. Yeah, that was easily the fucking dirt worst part of the show tonight. I just don't like the truth stuff. It's just not funny. It's you talk about played out. Like, I like truth, but when he's on screen now, like, he's got like channel changing heat with me now. Like, I just don't care. And to drag Pete Dunne down into it, it's awful.
I am the Lord.
Speaking of awful,
Shut the fuck up.
right on cue. Right on cue.
Fuck that tree.
Right on cue.
With a tear in my eye.
Sidro. Shout out to Sidro for alerting me, by the way, to this new banger theme. Find anything similar, send it my way. Sidro says, who invented the first soft drink? Adam. He made Eve's Cherry Pop. And if Mary had Jesus and Jesus is the Lamb of God, does that mean Mary had a little...
You suck.
Mary had a little lamb. Bernard with the $9.99. Times like these, I'm glad Triple H is in charge. If it was Vince, Big E would have come out doing his intro, spew comedic nonsense, and dance with the New Day all the way up the ramp and to the back. Yeah, Oh, believe me, this segment would have played out a lot differently than it did. I think we're all very thankful to not be in the midst of the McMahon era anymore when it comes to creative. Sidro is going to hell for that one, says William. Oh, man. Hey, you want to blame anybody? Blame Sidro. Blame Sidro. And Sidro again here says, girl names her hard drive Dat Ass. Once a month, her CPU asks if she wants to back that ass up. And I'm not going to read that second one, but thank you, Sidro. Thank you, Sidro. Jerome Eugenio, call him Pete Dwayne, or you wrote Dwayne. It's done. You can call him Pete. I'm pretty sure I saw Pete Dwayne get his ass kicked by Sid Vicious on an episode of Superstars back in 1991. He says, call him Pete Dunne or Butch. He still does the same job. It's true. He definitely does the job. The Sheriff of Patties coming in with a $5 super with a $5 super chat. I hope this Sheamus Intercontinental title chase ends with a big win at WrestleMania. They've done something right because I really wanted him to win this past Friday. Well, it was Saturday, but yes, that should be the WrestleMania moment for Sheamus next year. And DX Extreme. That must be David. So David put together, he did this once before, and he got a great response to it. David, he goes through like all of the Be the Bookers that I do here. And he's the one that put together that huge poll last time of like different matches to vote on. If you're in the live chat right now, you will see a link pinned in the chat. That link will take you to the poll. So go ahead and vote. That is the link to vote. That's why it is pinned in the chat. So go ahead and do that. And I know David would very much appreciate that. Peter Dune. Peter Dune. All right, David Thiering with the $300 super chat bomb that came in as we were going on the air tonight. I hadn't even spoken. The first words hadn't come out of my mouth yet. I was like a newborn baby still in the womb. And David dropped a $300 bomb on us here. Apologies for my absence, everyone, he says. A lot has happened that I need to take care of. Nothing bad. I'm doing all right. I've been trying to watch the content after the live stream. Had to make an appearance for Fire Panda's birthday. Happy birthday, Fire Panda. My gift is pyro and some music incoming. Oh yeah, we got the Cody Pyro Bomb. You see, Fire Panda, you are so loved. David showed up for you. That's how beloved you are. But David wasn't done yet. David said, hope you had a great Thanksgiving, Solomonster, and that the noodle pudding was as delicious as ever. Oh, it was delightful. It was delightful. Thank you, David. I hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving as well. So he sent in a $300 and then an $80, and then Bobby's World had to follow that with a $2 and said, hey guys, David's here. It's like, oh yeah, oh yes. Oh yes, he is. David again dropped a 200, and I can't believe this guy. This guy he's unreal. I don't even know if David's still with us, but David, he'll listen to this if he's not. And David, I love you, brother. Thank you as always for the support. It means a lot. You are a special kind of cat. I'll tell you that. David with another 150 says, last one. Now that I have broken the fourth wall on Super Chats today, I'm going to catch up on the rest of the review tomorrow. Happy holidays to all. I will be back live more regularly when things relax on my end. I have no doubt, Solo, that you are not going anywhere. Oh, I will be right here. You know exactly where to find me. I'm in the same place every single week, every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. William is disappointed to learn that noodle pudding is not a savory dish, but a sweet dish. So I call it noodle pudding. That's just what people in the family call it. It's not actually pudding. It's basically, I don't even know what the right word is to describe it. It's noodles. So basically, picture a slice of cake, but if it was noodles that were all together with some cinnamon. That's what it is. It's delicious. Delicious. It was all gone. I would say 75. We had about 16 people at Thanksgiving this year. And my cousin makes it. He made 3 of them. And I would say I probably ate 75% of it. Which I don't recommend doing. But I just can't help myself. NWO Matt says, happy birthday, Fire Panda. And heel New Day. I loved it. It was unexpected. Hey, Matt, thank you for the $69 drop. Yeah, I mean, it was unexpected, and I thought they pulled off, they just pulled it off masterfully. And now I'm really looking forward to actually seeing where the New Day goes from here. They go on this great heel run. I wish they had more teams to work with. That's the problem with the tag team division right now. Again, I've talked a lot recently about depth against creative, but I don't think Balor and McDonough are going to be a team for that much longer. So then you got the War Raiders, you've got the Wyatt Six, you've got the Final Testament, or AOP basically, and not a lot else going on right now. Not a whole lot else going on right now. Unhinged Main Event Frau with a $5 super chat. Is Triple H cooking or no? Men's division, thumbs up. Let's see what he does for the women's championship titles. Yeah, let's see. Because outside of Rhea and Liv, they haven't exactly built up a lot of interesting women's stories on that brand. So Triple H has got to answer for that. He's got to come up with some interesting things on that end. Hopefully, the introduction of an Intercontinental title will help with that. Donnie Yasku says that back and forth promo between Seth and Sami really had me going, ooh. They were making sense. They were making sense, and then in the end, they'll make dollars and cents out of this story, especially when they get to Punk and Rollins. They'll make dollars and cents. MGM Ballin, celebrating 5 months of channel membership. One thing I haven't mentioned tonight are all of the people that have gifted channel memberships tonight. Fucking amazing. I lost count. I don't know how many that is. I know there were at least 10 new ones tonight. MGM Ballin says, missed opportunity to have Big E do his Don't You Dare Be Sour intro instead of his garbage Def Rebel theme. You know what? I didn't even notice that he didn't do the introduction. That's true. He should have been on the... But you know what, though? It wouldn't have worked. Because he was coming out and he was sour. He wasn't coming out smiling and dancing and being jolly. So it really wouldn't have worked in this situation. Bobby's World gifted a membership to James Wilkinson. Welcome, James, to the channel. Sidro, gotta hear my new synthwave beat. Is that the one I played before, or are you talking about a different one? There he is right now. There he is right there, the man of the hour.
It's ABK.
There he is.
Always be killing it.
ABK, look at that. $411 super chat. The storyline between CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Sami so good can't win. Also for heel New Day since 8 years ago. I think he meant can't wait, but he could say whatever he wants when you drop a super chat like that. Oh my, you know what? In celebration of ABK, I have carved his initials into the super chat slide. There it is in the lower left right there. You are tattooed into the stream here. thank you, ABK. Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I heard from you, but you definitely know how to make your presence felt and appreciated, that's for sure. Bobby's World, gifted membership in honor of Fire Panda's birthday. Look at that. It's the season of giving, everybody. We're heading into the holiday season. You'd always give the gift of a channel membership to one very lucky random subscriber on the channel. Mr. Rod says 2004 Evolution split, 2014 The Shield split, now the New Day in 2024. How ironic. I didn't even notice that. So who's going to split in 2034? What do you think? Final Testament? We're going to get 10 years of the Final Testament? God help us all. God help us all. Black Wolf with the $10. I was in the crowd live in Miami, Florida, where Xavier randomly joined Big E and Kofi in the ring. I cried when they reunited. What they said to Big E, though, was for me. Had to get rid of a fake friend, too. So Black Wolf, unfortunately, could relate to the angle tonight. A lot of fake people in this world. One thing you could always depend on here, you're not getting anything fake. What I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. That's why you're here. Zizu, there it is. That's what I saw before. Zizu gifted 5 channel memberships. Oh my God, Hurricane says the learning tree splits in 2035. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Why? ABK with another 101. Happy birthday, Fire Panda. Boots. Happy birthday, Fire Panda, dropping another $100 super chat. It's just one big party here on the stream. Justin G says, lucky sperms out for Fire Panda. Wait, no, not like that. Ah, damn it. It's too late. You can't take it back now. That's the $7 super chat. You can't take it back. You said it. It is now on the World Wide Web forever. Alex with the 10. Brother Solo, happy December. Happy December to you too. This was easily one of the top 3 Raw episodes of the year. This show is a testament to what we can expect come January on Netflix, then sign me up. So Alex is excited, heading into the Netflix era. Hey, you know, if this Raw was on Netflix, I bet that the New Day would have been a little more naughty in their promo. They would have told Big E, get the fuck out of the ring. ABK with another 101. We the round for Be the Booker because it is Fire Panda's birthday. Right, we're doing 2 Be the Bookers here for Fire Panda's birthday. We got 2 rounds of it to come. Because we already smashed the regular goal. Regular goal, where are we at right now? Wow, we actually crossed 700. I didn't know we hit 700 likes. All right, let's shoot for 750. Biggest Raw stream of the year, possibly. Or I don't know how, well, maybe after WrestleMania, that might have been the biggest, but this is definitely one of the biggest. Alex, did someone say Brie mode? Let the activation commence. Yes, I heard it before when it went off. Apparently, so for those using the link pinned in the chat to vote in the Be the Booker poll, I'm being told that Dave Meltzer against Al Bundy is doing gangbusters. Yes, that was a real main event that was booked on Saturday night. David Thiering with a $100 super chat. You are absolutely right, Solo. All the bombs have to come out tonight for Fire Panda. I've got one more left. I may have been gone for a bit, taking care of business on my end. But rest assured, I am not going anywhere. Hurts my soul. Rest assured, I am not going anywhere, and neither are you. That's for damn sure. I couldn't have said it any better myself.
I am the Lord.
Shut the fuck up.
Fuck that tree.
Fuck that tree. Fuck that tree. Groovy Goose says, can we include members/chatters in Be the Booker? Nah, that would be cheating. Can't do that. You can't do that. Can't have people voting on themselves. I bet enough I vote on myself. That might be some separate idea for a separate Be the Booker round. Ross Lawman with the 25. CM Punk has some I owe you one, pal, it seems. Also, you say Punk would be safer in the Royal Rumble than Elimination Chamber, considering diving over the barrier and the top rope for Buckshot, and in the Royal Rumble this year, I think he's safer with his feet on the ground. Actually, you know what? He got hurt in the Royal Rumble this year, so I take that back. I take that back. Maybe he should be out of the Royal Rumble. Maybe just to be safe. Maybe he should have a match at the Royal Rumble and not be in the Rumble. We don't need a repeat of what happened this year. Ross says, Shane O. Punk punch it. Yes, that's right. That's what the Punk punches reminded me of in the opening segment. The Shane O'Mac Phantom punches. That's a great call. Frode 79. Bro, happy birthday, bro. Fire bro, panda bro. Are you 1 bro? Are you 2 bro? Are you 3 bro? Thank you, Frode, bro. The Mount Vernon kid, Christopher Bennett. Can you wish my little brother, Hulkling93, a happy 31st birthday? He went to his first New York Rangers game tonight for his birthday. Happy birthday, Hulkling93. 31 years, huh? 31 years. Well, here's to another 31 times 2. I hope you... I don't know how... Did the Rangers win? I haven't even checked. I don't really care. But I hope they won at least. I at least hope they won. Happy birthday, brother. CJ LaChapelle, I feel like no one cares about me. Well, you got a whole chat full of people here who care, so you can't say that. Nightmare Knee with a $10 super chat. It's hilarious that Rollins hates Punk so much. Wasn't it Punk who suggested that he and Ambrose for the Shield? Maybe my history is wrong, but I remember Punk saying that. Yes. But they insisted on Roman being in the group, which I think worked out well. I think that was the right choice. Originally, I believe it was going to be Chris Hero in the spot that ultimately went to Roman Reigns. That would have been terrible. Because there would have been no balance in that group. You know, you had Ambrose was just sort of the wacky brawler type. Rollins is the guy who would go out there and just fly around and bump his ass off and work his ass off. And Roman was the enforcer of the group. You know, he looked different from the other two. He was bigger. It wouldn't have worked otherwise. Vince McMahon, I assume it was Vince who made the call to put Roman in that group. I mean, obviously he had his reasons for doing it, but it was the right call to make. He made the right call on that. J.M. Garcia 12 with the $5 super chat. Solomonster, thank you for all you do. Just coming here to say it. Love the show, and it's my fucking birthday. Oh my God, we have another birthday boy here. We have a birthday girl and a birthday boy. And it's Hulkling's birthday as well, Hulkling 93. Man, I feel left out. Well, JM, happy birthday. Even though now I guess technically it's Tuesday, but I hope it was a great one. I hope you got everything you wanted. Uffman Entertainment gifted 5 channel memberships. Shout out to Uffman. Ian Noel with the 32. Missed the start of the stream. Is Gunther starting to turn face, if not a tweener? No, I don't think it's a face turn. He's a very unique heel. And I don't think the same type of heel booking necessarily applies to him, just, based on how they present him on TV. For the purposes of this match he's going to have with Finn Balor, the fans may take to him as the babyface, but are they turning him face? No, I don't think they're turning him face. And soon that triple threat with Priest and Finn, I see this leading to Finn imploding and kicking Dom and maybe Carlito out of the group. See, I think you have it the other way. It's the other way around. I think that they may kick Finn out of the group. Ross Lawman, being in the UK, I'm unsure what super chat is triggered in dollars. Apologies for the Brie mode, as Snitsky used to say. It wasn't my fault. It's all good, brother. No worries here. Oh, Harold. Sami was definitely annoyed by Punk at the scrum. See, I knew I wasn't the only one who picked up on that. He definitely was annoyed by Punk. Because Sami, he's answering these questions like super seriously. Somebody asked him about, you went from working with Wee Man in Johnny Knoxville to being a part of this great story, and he was given an answer. And when they mentioned that, by the way, Punk had no idea, apparently, that Sami had worked with Johnny Knoxville and Wee Man, because he had a look on his face like, wait, what? And he looked over at him. But Sami was just serious and answering the question, and Punk is just doing his own thing over here, and people are laughing, and Sami looks over. He's you could just tell. He's like, come on, dude. Retro KOH says, Xavier had me feeling like a kid whose parents were explaining why they were divorcing. Bron, the best characters are the ones who speak truths. Well, if Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn and all the characters we've been seeing on TV are any indication, this is some of the best WWE television all year, so I would agree. Look, Bret Hart. Talk about great heel turns. 1997, right? Everything he said was the truth. Everything he said in that promo where he turned heel and he told the American wrestling fans coast to coast to kiss his ass was the truth. Clone Force 99, channel member for 7 months. When Rock turns on Roman, guys like KO, Rollins, Drew will all be happy at Rock for doing that, and the crowd is going to go crazy when Rock turns on Roman. If Rock turns on Roman. We'll see what The Rock is doing. We'll see what The Rock is cooking. See what I did there? DX Extreme, the Alliance of Logic, Rollins, Drew, and KO for 2025. We don't have enough logic in wrestling. I've been arguing for logic for 17 years now. It's nice when we finally get it. Zombified guitarist, 94% was good enough for Jesse Pinkman. It was, yes. Yes, it was. Ian Noel, long-term storytelling. Drew had issues with Jay and Sami before Punk and lost to Jay and Sami 2 years in a row in War Games. Bloodline versus Brawling Brutes. Alliance versus Judgment Day. Mad at Sami and Jay for helping Roman. It's a lot of long-term storytelling that they are doing with some of these characters, and so when you recognize it and it starts to pay off, it just makes the shows more fun. Uffman Entertainment, a horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. Oh, you know what I was thinking about before? It was the story of the lady who swallowed the fly. I think that's what it was. That's what I was thinking of. I don't know why this made me think of that. Groovy Goose, Rollins does Be the Booker to determine his outfit. I think, yeah, you know what? I think he does. I think that's how he selects what he wears when he comes out. He has his own version of Be the Booker. Except he can't have mine. Mine is patented. He's barred from using mine. Aaron Ruggiero with the 10. Legit cried during Big E's promo. That segment hit me right in the heart. Just joined the stream, so apologies if you already talked about this, but do you think E is going to be back soon? I don't know about soon, but I think he is going to be back. Yes, I do. After the promo tonight, I think he's going to wrestle again. And I don't know that I would have said that if you would have asked me that question a week ago. Daniel Hilton, from Your Highness, he says. Are you trying to tell me something? Are you enjoying yourself a little too much here for Fire Panda's birthday? Base Beer says, would you do a noodle pudding mukbang? I would do a noodle pudding anything. I would bathe in noodle pudding. I would conceive my first child in noodle pudding. Jeremy Rose, either Cross is trolling everyone on X or there's something going on with him and Drew. Chances are he's trolling people on X. Base Beerus, thank you for the $2. I see a little panda in there. Rangers lost 5-1 to the Devils, says David. Well, Hulkling is not going to be very happy about that, but at least he got a happy birthday here on the stream. Alex says, happy birthday, Fire Panda. NWL Matt says, 2034 Learning Tree Breakup, 2044 Final Testament. Terrible. Base Beer says, we need an illustration of that Be the Booker men's War Games. Yes, if you were not here the other night, you missed an incredible Be the Booker where we booked a War Games match. And on one side was Nigel McGuinness, Bronson Reed, David Arquette, Mantar, and me. The worst War Games team ever assembled. Hydrograd. Would have loved to have attended the show tonight, but I had to work, unfortunately. From what I've seen so far, though, this was a great show. Oh, you missed a fantastic show. It's too bad you couldn't be there for it. Raph says, isn't that dish a noodle kugel, a Jewish classic? Yes, it is called kugel. If you want to see a picture of what it really looks like, just type in kugels. Kugel, and that will show you what it is. Probably give you the recipe, too. Boots, WWE Vault uploaded Punk against Amazing Red. Is House of Glory a part of WWE ID? A Hog rematch, perhaps? I think the commentary would be fantastic. Commentary would be fantastic. No, not part of WWE ID. WWE ID so far is really linking up with schools. There is a school. There is a House of Glory school, but as of this moment, no. And I did see that. Amazing Red is one of the founding fathers of House of Glory, and one of the people I work for. And he is a legend. A lot of people, modeled themselves after him, learned from him. He trained a lot of people. We still have people that return even to train, and Mercedes will just show up at House of Glory sometimes to get back in the ring and train with Red. I mean, he's very well respected, a very influential figure, and that's the only WWE match that he ever had. And it was against CM Punk. It was a dark match in 2005, I want to say. And the WWE Vault channel on YouTube just uploaded the match today. So if you missed it, you can go find it there. It's not the main YouTube channel, it's the Vault channel, which has become my second favorite channel on YouTube. Nick Grasso. Great segment with the New Day. I still think Woods is going to turn on Kofi when he least expects it, and Kofi will regret all of the things that he said and did. That would be interesting. I didn't get that sense coming out of tonight, but it could happen. Zombified Guitarist renewed his channel membership for 36 months. I would genuinely like to see Big E drag New Day back from the brink. New Day must not break up. It could just be temporary. There's going to be a reunion at some point. You don't have to worry about that. But why not let him run for a while, man? I mean, I want to see these two guys go on a heel run for a few months. And Brandon Vasquez, 2054. The Judgment Day will break up. I am surprised nobody has mentioned the Bloodline at this point. That legitimately may go on for another 10 years, and nobody mentioned the Bloodline. You're all mentioning these other groups. Instead of the one faction that actually has the potential to go on for another decade plus. What's wrong with you people? How can you not see this? Come on now. Where did Amazing Red wrestle? Have you all forgotten Red's run in TNA? Or when they put him together with Don West as his manager, which is like the most random fucking pairing ever. But man, I mean, Don West, he put his all into that. Red has actually had nothing but great things to say about Don West. Don West is the one who I believe was responsible for getting Red his first action figure made. Yeah, Don West was one of the good guys. It's a real shame that he got sick and he's not with us anymore. OM2 Cool says happy birthday Fire Panda and all hail the monster. Thank you, OM2 Cool. All right, well, you guys, to say that you guys killed it tonight would be a humongous understatement. We got some Be the Booker to play here. Are you ready? We're only 9 likes away from 750. So while you go ahead and get me to 750, I'm going to get you into the first round of Be the Booker. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to Be the Booker.
You excited for this? I know I am. This is going to be fun. There's been a few new additions made as well. 1 new tag team added. 3 new people added on men's Be the Booker. The women's stays the same. Always updating Be the Booker. Got to keep it fresh. Just funny, you know, I set that goal. I set it 10 minutes before I went live. And I think within the first 5 minutes of me actually coming on screen, the goal was already met. I don't even know if it was 5 minutes. You guys are too much. Yeah. All right, well, we begin not on a exciting note. We have Best Friends. We're starting with Best Friends. Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. Starting us out here in Be the Booker. All right, we're gonna need a great team here to carry us to a bell. Hulk Hogan and Edge against Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. How are we feeling about this? I need some feedback. I need some help from you guys. Because I know what I'm thinking. Yeah, me too. I was leaning in that direction. I just said I want some feedback from you. I'm just curious what you guys were thinking. But that was always going to be a buzz. All right, women's Be the Booker. Women's Be the Booker. Ah, yes. Former Stardom champion, current NXT star, future NXT Women's Champion, Julia. Looking lovely as always. The lovely Julia. And this is Julia from Stardom, when she would really just murder people. Julia gonna step into the ring with Meiko Satomura. Hey, Isn't Mako retiring in April? I think she's in her final months of her career. Mako and Julia. Have Julia and Mako ever had a match? That's what I want to know. And if they haven't, Shawn Michaels now has the ability to make that match a reality. Because Mako, I think, is still technically under contract with WWE. So if that match has not happened, Shawn Michaels, you got to make it happen, brother. You got to make that match happen. All right, men's Be the Booker. Here we go. Main event time. Round 1 main event. This is like our WrestleMania Night 1 main event. Oh, look, everybody. It's Butch. I don't even want to look at this guy after what we saw tonight. Oh, man. Oh, man. Pete Dunne against Johnny Gargano. That should be the Booker main event. Butch and Pete Dunne. I'm sorry, Butch and Johnny Gargano. I'm so checked out here. I don't even know the guy's name. Butch and Johnny Gargano is your main event for Be the Booker. Pathetic. Pathetic. That could be Black and Gold NXT main event, but we are many years removed from the Black and Gold, so. Oh, it's too bad. All right. Well, you guys earned a second round of Be the Booker. And not only have you earned a second round of Be the Booker, I've decided we're going to do stipulations for all 3 matches. So let's begin with the stips. We'll pick the stip first, and then we'll pick the match. What kind of tag team match are we going to have here? Oh, this is going to be fantastic. We're going to have the first ever tag team blindfold match. That's great. This should be good. Tag team blindfold. Has that ever happened before? I'm pretty sure this is a first. Tag team blindfold match. Oh, look at this. We got the Kings of Wrestling, a quality team. I saw them many times live in Ring of Honor back at the Manhattan Center. Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli. And they are going to be taking on... Wow. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, the Banger Bros. Was it the Banger Bros or the Bang Bros? It was the Banger Bros, right? Bang Bros is something else. Banger Bros and the Kings of Wrestling. You know what? Even blindfolded, that would be a hell of a match. Even blindfolded. That's going to be restaurant quality, as they say. I love it. All right. Now we got to pick a stipulation for this women's match. This is dangerous now. Bang Bros was taken? Okay. All right, okay, so the Bang Bros came first. I swear I didn't mean to say that just now, but that's just too perfect. The Bang Bros came first, then the Banger Bro. Okay. Enough of this. Stipulation. Oh. See, I'm the most indecisive person you'll ever find. I have no idea. I have to pick. All right, Solomonster's choice. I get to pick the stipulation for this match. What kind of stipulation should we pick here for the women? I will solicit feedback from you. What stipulation would you like? What stipulation should we do for the women? Cage is one suggestion. TLC, that's probably pretty dangerous. Seeing a lot of steel cages here. All right, steel cage match. That's my stipulation. Steel cage match. Women's steel cage match with Maki Ito. Man, what is going on tonight? We went from Julia to Meiko Satomura to Maki Ito. It's just a Joshi night here on Be the Booker with the women. Maki Ito, I swear, if we land on like Asuka or something, I'm just gonna laugh. Maki Ito, well, that's definitely not Asuka. Maki Ito in a cage against Lana. Definitely not Asuka. That's for damn sure. Now we pick the stipulation for our... So there will be no clean sweeps tonight, I'm sorry to say. But maybe we could salvage things by having a quality main event. What do you think? For Fire Panda. We have to have a great main event for Fire Panda. And it will be CM Punk is the special referee. Okay. So we have Punk as the referee for our main event. Now we just got to find out who the main event is going to include. Get your guns out, everybody. It's Cash Wheeler. Just don't cut him off on the road. Cash Wheeler. Well, he'll be very happy. See, this is kind of unfair because he and CM Punk are actually good friends. CM Punk and FTR, I mean, they're like this. You know, they're tight. This is already... It's kind of like a handicap type situation here. Cash Wheeler. One-on-one. With Eddie Kingston. And CM Punk as the special guest referee. Fuck it, I think that would be cool. When we had Punk and Eddie in the ring cutting promos on each other in AEW, that was good shit. So to get them back in the ring together and, you know, Eddie's going to be looking at Punk like, you know, I know this guy's your friend. Like, there's going to be drama between them. I think that could be fun. See, who says you don't get storytelling and Be the Booker? You get storytelling on Raw, you got storytelling and Be the Booker. It's all about story. All about story. Damn straight. All right, who do we got here? Let's get to these final super chats here. We have Daniel. Oh.
I'm the last.
Shut the fuck up. He needs his TV time. Fuck that tree. Gotta have his TV time. Daniel Malcolm. Somewhere Abu Sika must be smiling with all of the ghost appearances recently. Well, that's all him. That's all him. That $69 super chat was created for Abu Sika. I literally say his name in the super chat. MGM Ballin, my first exposure to Amazing Red was the Hog 6-man tag team from September. He started the show by diving into the crowd, and I immediately was a huge fan. Dude, that was one of the scariest moments because my best friend came to the show with his kids, his 2 little girls, and he was in that section. He was in the 3rd row, and Red landed in the 2nd row, right in front of him. Now I'm at the commentary desk, and so I know he's in that section, but I don't really have a great view of who he landed on, and I'm just like, he may have killed him. I mean, so I tell whoever it was, somebody who worked there, I said, please go over there and find out. Like, just make sure they're okay, please. He shot out of that ring like a cannon and landed in the second row. I'll never forget that. The Mount Vernon kid, Christopher Bennett, 31 months of channel membership. I feel Drew did it all. That's very possible it's Drew. Be a little obvious, but the obvious conclusion is that Drew McIntyre is the one who attacked Jey Uso. J.R. Vichair with the $12 learning tree. Just got home from hockey. Was Raw good? Happy birthday. Fire Panda. Here's a tree for you. Burn it or fall out of it like a real panda. That's true. That's what pandas do. Zombified Guitarist says Gargano versus Dunne a buzz? Shame, Solo. Shame, Douglas. Hey, if I would have landed on that years ago, automatic bell. Times change. That's not a main event. Not anymore, it's not. OM too cool. Did you see Kota Ibushi wrestling with an infection? I saw Kota wrestling. He had what looked like an infection. I'm not a doctor, but it certainly looked like it was infected. But there were people, I think, who didn't realize there was a Band-Aid over it. Like, they were talking like there was pus coming out of it. There was a fucking Band-Aid. But it still looked like he should not have been allowed in the ring with that on his back. Like, imagine, like, you're wrestling him. And you're laying on the mat, and he covers you for a pin. And he's got his back pressed up against your mouth. Like, you know, like, and if it is an infection, I don't know if it's staph or what, like, he shouldn't be in the ring anyway. Justin G says, I thought Bryan Danielson was supposed to be fining me for this. We love you so. That was a brand new $5 super chat. You got to freshen it up every now and then, so Jacob Fatu now is the new $5 super chat. And Powerful One says, wish the sound with the sound effects. And the third movie, Sonic for Be the Booker. You get the Sonic sound effects. I can't put Sonic in Be the Booker. Sonic is not a real character. Sonic is not a human being. I mean, that would be like me putting Gumby in Be the Booker. It wouldn't make any sense. Although the Beast Mortos is in there. And Mantar. Half man, half tar. So we'll have to make an exception for him. Aaron Ruggiero with the $20 super chat. Just have to give one more thought, Solo. I was at a local show here in Buffalo, and a kid got hit by a chair, so I know how you feel. It was scary, but luckily he was okay. This shit can be scary sometimes. Hey, you know, things happen. People use weapons. Sometimes they end up bouncing out of the... You know what always scares me, even in like WWE and AEW, is, let's say there's like a talk show segment in the ring, and somebody comes out and destroys all the furniture. Like, there have been situations where they pick up these big, like, office chairs and they just chuck them out of the ring. And sometimes they bounce, you know, or maybe a piece breaks off or something. I mean, ladders, right? We've seen that with ladders that end up, like, up against the barricade. Some scary shit. That's like a lawsuit waiting to happen. You got to be careful with that stuff. Anyway, this has been an incredible stream. One of the best Raw streams, if not the best, all year. And I have you all to thank for it. And I'm hoping that Fire Panda enjoyed her birthday hanging out with all of us tonight. A lot of love for Fire Panda, even on Twitter earlier and here on the stream. Fire Panda is one of our mods and one of my big supporters. I appreciate all that you do. And to Fire Panda and to ABK and David and everybody, Boots, I mean everybody who is dropping bombs tonight, you guys are awesome. So thank you very much. Next time I'm live here on this channel with you will be Wednesday night. That will be after Dynamite. Let's carry some of that momentum into the Continental Classic and whatever else they have planned this week. Tomorrow night, I'll be live on JD's channel for Tuesday Night Titans, so you can find me there. Wednesday night, Dynamite. Friday night, SmackDown. Plenty of content yet to come this week on the channel. If you missed episode 890 of the podcast, go check it out. Almost 2 hours, a lot of news. Talk about Ricky Starks, talk about Survivor Series fallout, AW Australia and that whole embarrassment, whole bunch of stuff. Big mailbag too. So go check out episode 890 if you have not already done so. Retro KOH gets the last word here on the Super Chats. Solo pulling a Ricky Starks with Sonic. Book him, Solo. He's too expensive. After that third movie came out, he thinks he's a big shot now. What does he think we have? WWE money? We got indie money. We ain't got WWE money. Anyway, be well, stay safe. Richie, coming in with 5. Did Halloween Ends make sense to you? Was that the one where Michael was made to look like a friggin' weakling? And he was locked away in the sewer for most of the movie? Like a little bitch? Yeah, I hated that. I'm going to pretend it didn't happen. Now you put me in a bad mood. Make me think of some shitty movie. Now I got to go watch the original just to wash that out of my brain now. I'll see you guys back here on Wednesday night. Take care, guys.